So this is just a quick explainer video just to give an insight into what I do and how I work and demonstrate how I model various different financial scenarios for different types of client to create a bespoke financial plan for each client depending on their circumstances. So in this case, as part of the demo, these clients, husband and wife, age 38, and I've put together a timeline for them. So the timeline extends over the bottom. It goes to the early 90s. Now, I always prefer to make my plan slightly longer, further than life expectancy, because what I don't want to do is finish the plan around here and they live longer. That way they're going to run out of money. So here we are at the beginning of the plan. We sat down with the husband and wife and talked about all the things that are important to them, all the milestone events that they want to happen effectively throughout the rest of their lives, ideally. So over the next couple of years, they want to extend or buy a new home. They've got 2 children. They'd like to have the option to send them to university should they wish to attend, and maybe help the children financially. This particular client, her husband he wants to go part-time at age 60, and then around 65 he wants to finish work completely. At that point he wants to do lots of travelling, and then during retirement he wants to have some funds set aside for some later life care or help at home should he need it. So that's the timeline, and just to give us a quick overview as to what's going on financially at the moment, a quick snapshot. So we've got husband and wife both working at the moment. They've got some savings, they've got a couple of old ISAs they haven't done much with for a couple of years. They've both got pensions they've been saving into. They will be entitled to a state pension. They've got a home and they've got their expenses, which is roughly about, at this stage, about half of what they're earning. Of course, every situation is different, but in this particular case, they're saving about half of what they're earning. Okay, so let's have a look at what's going to happen to their finances as time goes on, which I've projected forward based on certain agreed assumptions. Before I do that, I always say to my clients that red is bad and blue is good. So what we've got here is, this is the timeline that we saw before with all these different milestone events on that we talked about, all the things they wanted to do. And this black line here, that's the cost of their living. Okay, so that's how much it costs for them to do all the things they wanted to do. Now these spikes up here, these are the additional costs. So here, this is extending or buying a new home. These spikes here are sending the 2 children to university. This spike here is helping the children financially, and this spike here is later life care. So what we see straight away is the clients are working to this point, and when they go part-time, this is when their income reduces. What we see is after they stop working, they've got a couple of years after which there's some quite large shortfalls coming into the plan. So what that means is they can't afford to do all the things they wanted to do should things remain equal. So it's my job, and this is where I would come in, it's my job to layer various different financial strategies so that effectively we're getting rid of all the red in their plan. Now these financial strategies can be a number of different things, such as reviewing their existing investments, making sure they're performing as they should be, make sure they're utilising all tax-free allowances, make sure they're doing the tax-free savings. It could be buying a buy-to-let or selling a rental property, downsizing, selling a business, buying a business. It could be a number of different things, but the most important thing is the strategies are put in place at this point here to ensure they can do all the things they want to do without them running out of money and without there being any red within the plan. Now, what's quite interesting is, the great thing is about plans, one thing that is constant, and that is there's always changes that take place. So what they might say is, actually, Mark, what if I work a little bit later? How will that impact upon my plan? So what I can do is I can move the plans around, and I can change things around depending on what the circumstances are and see how that impacts upon their plans. They might say, actually, what if they go to university a little bit later? How will that impact? Again, I can move that around and we can see how that impacts upon their plans. So everything's changeable depending on the personal circumstances. So as far as I'm concerned, this is what we call real financial planning. This can really change a client's financial life. The other thing to consider is the event that, what if husband dies early? And what needs to happen there to ensure that the wife and children will be okay for the rest of their lives? So what I do is I put in place a simulation, and we can work out, assuming that husband is obviously deceased, he's no longer working, he's not receiving his income, and also the expenses are reduced accordingly, he should be insured for this sum down here, 1.367 million, to ensure that wife and children are okay and they can do all the things they want to be doing. So effectively, I'm putting in place a roadmap for clients so they can achieve their financial objectives. And if this is of any interest, please feel free to contact me. This is the usual disclaimer that we have to put up when we relate to investments and finance. And finally, if anyone wants a free initial consultation to discuss their plans or objectives, then I'd be able and happy to do that. Thank you very much for watching.